And all the Kingsmen said? Yes. All right. Fellas, how y'all doing? Great. It's good to see you guys. It's good to be back here with you guys. This is the Kingsmen Podcast, episode 4. Give it up. Make some noise. Yes. And all the Kingsmen said? Yes. Guys, so I've got a very special guest today on episode 4. How many of us have ever talked about chasing a dream? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But what happens when you're actually so close enough to touch it and then you turn around on it? So the guest I have today, this is a 6'5" force, okay? He was offered a professional contract to play basketball overseas. Got real close to it and said, you know what? I think the route I'm gonna take is not this route. I lived my whole life training, getting ready for it. I dreamed about it as a kid, and he made a pivot. We're gonna talk about that pivot in a second, but one of the things that drew me to this person was the fact that you ever had somebody that just kept it real with you? Like for real. Like, matter of fact, let's say it like this. Have you had somebody who wasn't your brother, wasn't your cousin, like somebody that is as of no relation to you, but they just kept it 100 with you? This person did that for me. So I walked into business, and he asked me 2 questions. These are pivotal questions in my life because I was thinking I was a real business owner. For those of you who don't know me out there, I'm Reggie Anderson. For those of you who do know me, I'm still Reggie Anderson. But I actually didn't come from finance. I wasn't even Reggie's Ribs. Before all of that, I was a security guy. I worked a bar, a club, and a champagne lounge, and I did those things in charge of people twice my age and twice my size. I'm telling these guys what to do, where to go. I'm coming early, leaving late, and I didn't make any more than those guys made. The craziest thing is that I thought going into entrepreneurship, going into business for myself would be the way out for that. And I think I did pretty well making some money on my own. But to the question from this gentleman, he asked me 2 pivotal questions. He said, hey man, if you want to take your son, at the time I only had one son, he said, if you want to take your son one state away, we ain't talking about Disney World, Universal Studios, we here in Chicago. He's like, look, let's just Wisconsin. For those who know, that's a 45-minute drive, hour drive, not too far away, right? He said, can you do that and still make money while you gone? You know, just you and your son, he's staying up all late, eating snacks, jumping in the bed, doing whatever he want to do. Can you do that and still make money? I said, no, I don't think I can. He said, oh, okay, cool. He asked me another question. He said, COVID is out right now. You in food service. You think you could be coughing and sneezing over people's food, or you think you got to take a couple of days off? I said, yeah, I got to take a couple of days. He said, well, quarantine is 2 weeks. That's 14 days. So I had to take 14 days off. Can you make money while you're not there? And I said, no, and get your hands off me. You're not my friend. But he was. He was pretty much just putting a mirror right in front of my face just to show me, hey, listen, bro, you just own a job. So to all of my people who own a job right now, who are self-employed, kudos to you, congratulations to you. But there's more, all right? And so we're gonna talk a little bit about that. Is that all right today? Yeah. Is that all right? Okay, cool. What we do here at the Kingsmen Podcast, we talk about 2 things. And I wanna make this very clear. The very first thing is we wanna redefine what it feels like to be a man in today's time. By number 1, remaining vulnerable, yet accountable, okay? Number 2, besides God, because God is first, we wanna make sure that your money, your mindset, and leading your household is always facing north, meaning going up. So, without further ado, guys, help me welcome my friend, soon to be yours, Executive Vice President, Mr. Victor Landor. Eastside on it. My man. So Vic, man, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. It feels good to be here. Thanks for having me, bro.
You know, it feels good, man, just to have you sitting across from you. A lot of the guys don't know that you're a mentor. Like, you're somebody who challenged me. That you don't have any relation to me, man. There's no blood involved, but you know, you care enough about me and a lot of other guys too. That you coach and mentor, and that you take your time to challenge you. That's a tough thing. So I just want to start out by saying, what kind of brought you into that space as to where you felt like challenging somebody for their own good? It's like, hey, all right, that's it. Like, I got to be that guy.
Yeah. Well, you know, coming up and growing up being an athlete, you know, I switched up my approach, went from player to coach. You know, the best hood to come from, I come from the hood, Humboldt Park, but the best hoods to come from is from fatherhood and brotherhood.
Come on now.
You know, and each, you know, you gotta make sure that the environment that you're in, that is for the betterment, right? Like, so, you know, that conversation we had, you know, God put it in my heart before I really got into the word to have that conversation with you. Because I come, when my style of leadership is inconveniencing people for their own greater good.
Absolutely.
Right? They may not see it right then and there, but I know that little piece of information will help them be later greater. Right? So hearing how you always, you know, show love and talk about that conversation, it was a real conversation I had with you, but I didn't know the impact that it would have years later on to see where you're at today as a business owner, as a serial entrepreneur, as a father and a husband.
That's real.
So just that little small conversation, I just think about every time you do bring it up, I think about what if I didn't tell you that? If I didn't bring that up? You know, how would that have shaped the trajectory for your life? So, you know, I'm being a team player, you know, you have a role of making sure that the entire locker room, but also the team is getting better. Because if I don't have those real conversations, if I don't challenge, if I don't push those buttons, then I'm cheating. Not just that person, but I'm cheating their family. I'm cheating their kids. I'm cheating their parents. I'm cheating their legacy that's to be built for the future. So I always think about it like this: do to others as you want to do to yourself. Respect others how you want others to respect you. So when I have those conversations with different people, it may be challenging, right? They may not like it. They may not, you know, receive it well, but I have faith that they're gonna see the value in it.
Absolutely.
But the real reason why I'm like that too is because if the shoes are on the other foot, I pray that those conversations be held with me. As uncomfortable as it is, as challenging it is, and I may not like it, I pray that it's like that too, because not only beyond myself, they'll be cheating my kids and my family and my future's legacy down the line. So I was always that person on the team to, you know, be the hype, be the challenger, and be the one to, you know, be initiating tough conversations, initiating accountability, initiating guidance. Because, you know, leadership is an assumed position.
Absolutely.
So if nobody's gonna do it, somebody has to do it.
I read a book called Crucial Conversations.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny, man, is because it's like when I was reading the book, I'm just like, man, Vic must have read this book, man, because we had crucial conversations all the time. I love it. I appreciate that. I wish that on every Kingsman here.
Yeah. And one thing, if I could tip my hat to you, Reggie, on the receiving end, always receiving it well and not taking it personal, and, you know, not letting it affect our relationship, our bond, because yes, again, it's all for the betterment. And just as much as I give it, I can also receive it too as well. So that's always my blessing to pay it forward, because the people that God put in my life to have those tough conversations with me, I pay it forward by being a blessing to someone else so he can see my work on his ground. You know, so
man, give it up, y'all. That was beautiful. So, real quick, I just want to tell you guys that there are going to be a lot of question asking on my behalf, but it's going to be on your behalf, because I'm going to ask the questions that you text to the number that you just got. So you got everybody that got checked in, you got a text. Text that line back if you have any questions at any time, and I'll be the one to ask it. Cool? Cool? Are we good? And all the Kingsmen set? Oh. Yes. All right, okay, so look. So Vic, take me back to that moment, man. You know, you had a real shot to play overseas. What did that opportunity really feel like, just to have the paper be right there in front of you?
Yeah, well, it all started back in, it was like early in the mid 2012. I'm not sure if y'all familiar with it. It's called the Gus Macker Tournament.
Okay.
So the Gus Macker Tournament is a tournament that goes all across the country, and they host 3-on-3s. So it's different levels of it. So we played 3 years. And out of the 3 years, we won first place. And the third year, we were the first losers. Y'all know what the first losers are, right? Second place, right? So shout out to Z, my boy Z. He actually put that team together too. And this was around the time when I was, the ball was somewhat losing its bounce. It stopped bouncing, right? Because when I grew up, anybody that have any sports dreams or big dreams, especially in the sports area, they will ask you when you grow up, what do you want to be when you grow up? Y'all remember that conversation when the teachers asked y'all, right? And I always say, I'm going to the league. I'm going to the NBA. And then people would say, what's your plan B, just in case that worked? No, I ain't no plan B. I'm going to the league, right?
Make it or make it.
That's it. Do or die, right? So I'm still having that, but I'm also coming to terms like, the ball stopped bouncing.
Wow.
It's time to just look at that plan B. And I don't know, my boy Z, I guess God put on his heart to, put together, assemble that 3-on-3 team with the Gus Smackers. So I got back in it. And around that time in my life, it was like, it was tough, right? And I failed to realize that basketball was a therapy for me. It was bouncing, hooping it took me away from the world. It paused the world and it took me to my safe place, right? So I was on the court at the Gus Smacker, and what's so crazy, Reggie, I kid you not, the third league that I played in the Gus Smacker was downtown Naperville. So I don't know if you don't remember me, you, Andrea, and Anita, when we did the business plan at that taco joint.
Yeah.
It was right across the street, and I'm like, this where we was at. Yeah, so it's crazy. And now here we got an office now. No, for real, right?
Twilight Zone for all.
And I just had a flashback, and it was whiplash. Wow. I'm not sure if you fellas can relate. Time is flying first class, isn't it, y'all? And he's like, man, this was like 12 years. Here we are, like, it's crazy. So anyway, long story short, I was having those conversations. We even traveled down to Michigan once. That was the third time that we played. And I'm coming back, and Z having this conversation. I'm like, what's up, Vic? You still got love for the game? I'm like, most definitely. It's tatted in me. It's inked in me, right? But I'm also coming to realization, like, it's big to have good hoop dreams, but at the same time, I need some money. I got bills. I got a cell phone bill. I'm back home with my OG. She asking for rent. So things getting real, right? And Gus Smacker, you didn't really win no money. You just won a trophy. But anyway, long story short, that third time, he had one of his, he was a gym teacher. And he had one of his coworkers with him, and he actually played professional ball in Puerto Rico. Los Capitanes de la Arecibo. So he was always
how do you say it in Spanish?
The captains of Arecibo. That's a place in Puerto Rico. Anyway, long story short, so he was having a conversation with me like, man, you still want to hoop? You still got it in you? You still, is it still in the blood? I'm like, yeah. So anyway, long story short, we went out to Moody Bible Institute, and even though he was out here, he still was connected in Puerto Rico. So he was putting a word in back and forth, and there was like a small little workout. It was a selective few, and out of those few, they had a conversation with me like, hey man, we want to entertain, we want to have this conversation. We see that you are of the Puerto Rico descent, right? How would you like to come and play ball in Puerto Rico? And around that time too as well, if you don't go to the league, the next league is overseas, over the water. So I'm sitting there like, damn, this came by fast. This happened quick. And around that time too as well, I've recently just got my feet in the door of what, financial services and the business too. Okay. And I got this beautiful young lady at the same time as well.
Really? Wait.
Yeah.
This is all happening.
Yeah, all at once in the middle of 2012. Yeah, so I'm really sitting there thinking too, and at that time, if I could be transparent, the Lord, my Savior, wasn't really center in my life at that point. So it was all flesh thinking, like, man, can I do this? Can I not do this? And there were so many determining factors that made me realize the decision I'm gonna make. And when I seen it, I started to really, did my pros and cons. And if the man above, he's in the business of blessing, y'all. He puts things in divine timing, right? And I know we're probably gonna get to it, but I came across this series called 30 for 30, Athletes Go Broke on ESPN. I'm not sure if y'all ever seen that.
30 for 30, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm watching.
I didn't see the Athletes Go Broke. They had whole ones tailored to
bro,
that.
And it really opened my eyes at that same time when the opportunity presented itself. So I'm watching, and I'm like, I see what you're doing. Because coming from Humble Park, coming from where we come from, a conversation of if it's north of six figures or six figures base and going more north, like, you a millionaire.
That's money.
You're getting paid. And me, I come from a place, if I could be full transparent, it was like I was making money to spend money to look like I had the money, but I ain't have no money. right?
Been there before. So
Yeah.
basically, you was like, you had J's on the bus.
Yes, on the bus stop, looking fresh as hell, but on the bus stop, like, what sense does that make? Jordan getting the money. All I'm getting is some Facebook notifications, Instagram notifications. I got them early. No line, no wait, no raffles, but it's not doing nothing for me. And I would bring, I would always, it got to a point where I had like almost 100 pair of Jordans, and I was the one that I had beaters. And every time I get a new pair, I just put them in a box in the room, right? And I'm looking like, that's like $20,000 right there. And I'm down wearing a pair of them. Right, so yeah, and as I started thinking about why I'm watching this 30 for 30, the biggest thing I realized that stuck out to me was like, whenever you guys see somebody as an athlete, they say, Russell Westbrook signed a deal with the Sacramento Kings for 2 years, $3 million. They said whenever you see a contract like that and you see the number, automatically slice that number in half. Right, so we see somebody making $1 million, that's really $500,000.
Okay.
And then they got to this part where they just said they'll put the contract up top, already in half, $1 million, $500,000. Then agent fees, right?
After the half.
After the half. Then every single state they travel to, they got to pay state taxes there because they're considered employees.
Wow.
And they get a check for every state, and that's considered as earned income.
Oh.
Right, and not only that,
Oh.
a lot of these kids, not kids, but a lot of these guys that have these hoop dreams, we come across that money, what we doing? Mom, let's go look for a home.
Get a house.
So mind, we have $500,000 every state. We got to pay taxes, and now mom's got a crib. We got a mortgage to maintain. The bigger the house, the water bill, the electricity. We got to furnish the house and all that. And I just seen that live example, and dude was down to $120,000, and he still got 2 more years to play. So he living off $120,000, and it was mind-boggling to me to see that these people that are multimillionaires, but they're living check to check. And not only are they living check to check, it's also messing up their mindset as they're on the field playing ball. Because they're playing the game and they're realizing, I only got so much money left. And that can also affect how they play the game, which also affects the general manager realizing if we're going to continue to entertain this guy being a franchise tag.
Absolutely.
Or, add an extension to that. So it just, yeah. So now I'm thinking too, if I make 6 figures, 100,000, that's what, 50,000. I go to Puerto Rico, right? I gotta pay for my own living expenses.
Yeah.
I gotta feed myself.
And then you want to send money back home.
Gotta send money back home, travel back home. And by the way, a season is only for a season, not the whole year. So how in corporate America, people work the whole year.
Yeah.
But there's only a season in basketball. And once that season's over with, come to find out from some guys and buddies that I knew that went the overseas route, once the season's over with, they come back home and guess what they go get? A job. To hold them over. To get to the next season. And who's to say they're gonna get that extension for the next season? And then on top,
you gotta stay in shape, have a job,
diet, exercising, and you also gotta try for that next spot for the next year because there's newcomers coming in. So they like fresh legs. And by the way, I'm scratching 30. So in the professional world, if you 30, you a vet.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, I'm only 30, right?
How many of you guys already knew that about? How many of you guys already knew that about ball?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And if you look at LeBron James, he's 41. But in the world of basketball, he's a grandpa. But once he's away from the sports, he's only 40. He's still young. He got a whole nother life ahead of him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it could take me to a rabbit hole. And just if I could leave with this, I even thought too, like after the ball stop bouncing, I get older, my knees start aching.
Yeah.
My body's a machine, it's gonna break down. I have to have treatment, I have the right treatment, I have the right trainers, I have the right people in my corner to keep this machine going.
So you're thinking all of these thoughts, right? After seeing 30 for 30, you have your own reasons as to why you would turn it down.
Yeah.
But what did the people around you say? Like, how were they?
Man.
Were they more excited for just the news, or like?
So crazy. When that actually took place, I didn't tell nobody.
Really?
And the reason why I didn't tell nobody because I didn't want that added pressure. I already had pressure on myself.
Sure.
But everybody, coming from the hood, you got that one that'll make it out. And when that one that make it out, we all made it out, right? That's my cousin, that's my bro, right?
So your money would have been our money.
Yeah, And I'm thinking to myself, like, don't tell nobody, keep this to myself because I don't want that added pressure. I already got pressure on myself. I'm also at a point in my life like, what's next? Because I am climbing the ladder.
Sure.
So long story short, after that conversation came about, they want to, entertain that conversation, things like that, as far as going to play ball in Puerto Rico. Lincoln House. I'm not sure if y'all remember Lincoln House in Chicago.
Yeah.
I had just got the business up and going. And at that time too, I had just got my girlfriend at the time, Anita. She graduated from college. She couldn't find no job. She has a degree. I already got her into her ear. We was at Panera Bread. She's like, yeah, let's get this business a shot. So at Lincoln House, we had what we call a community overview, where people come in, we launch our business, share the information that we got going on. So we're at Lincoln House. It's a club venue. It's like 100 people there. This is one of my first type of, launches in the business. Okay. And I was considered what we call a 2-minute speaker to close out. And my dad was there, my auntie was there, my stepmom was there, my cousins was there. And I actually got a picture on my Facebook, like in the profile pictures deep in the album, I have a baby blue Easter suit on. I think I'm doing it, y'all. Baby blue in business, right? Sir. I paid like $15 for that suit from the second hand. I took it down to Hollywood Cleaners. I got it tailored. That was like a $25 suit, and I think I'm looking like money. And I'm not knowing what I know now is like, you did your thing though, you know what I'm saying? You tried. But anyway, I bring that up to say this. At that moment, there was a picture that they took of me, and I got the mic. My girlfriend at the time, Anna, she's like this with a purple silk. I remember like it was yesterday. Anyway, I had said, the real reason I got in this business because I see the crusade, I see the mission, I see that this type of information is not being brought back to where I'm from.
Sure.
Right, because we're being overlooked. So the reason why I plant my flag in this because I see the future, and I said what I said. And by the way, I just turned down an opportunity to play ball professionally in Puerto Rico, and as I'm saying that, I'm looking at the stands, my dad's eyes is open, my cousins, like, they're looking at each other talking like,
wow.
Right, so when I was done.
That was the first time hearing the news.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I'm done, I had to get off the stage, and my dad's like, come here, let me holler at you. I'm like, what's up, Poppy?
Holler at you, all right.
Yeah, because, he's the one that put the ball in my hands.
Holler at you.
And we had a lot of conversations about, what the future could look like as far as how far the ball could take me. He's like, son, you for real? Really? I'm like, yeah. He's like, damn, so you really see a vision in this? I was like, yeah. He's like, man, whatever the decision is, I support that.
Oh, man.
I got love for you.
Hey, give it up, man. I'm gonna take this time to interject on being a father because in that moment, it could have went 2 different ways. And because it went that way, I feel so good. And now it makes sense as to why you are the way you are. I feel like you had what was the real definition of a king's man.
Yeah.
I see some examples of men teaching their kids about how not to cry and be you're a big boy.
Yeah.
Men don't cry. Suck it up. Get out of here. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I get it. But sometimes I'm like, talk to him.
Yeah.
Understand why he feel that way. And I'm not talking about 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, even though it's important at that level too. But I mean, like, if you got a kid that's 15, you figuring things out right now. You really need your father. And men don't cry, suck it up and get out of here is not always the answer. It's not always the answer. So the fact that he gave you like hey, well, you know what, son? Hey, if that's what you really wanted, I know I seen you nights playing in the rain. Yeah. I seen you get up and go scrape your knee and get right back out. I seen all of that, but if you really want to take this, I'm behind you.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have a father that's like that as well.
It's love.
And I think that's crazy important for us to make that a standard going forward, that we'll be those type of fathers that's behind your kid, what they want to, because you can't live your life through them.
No, I can't.
You got to, back them up and, be a part of their life, but be a part of their decisions, good or bad, left or right, up or down,
Yeah.
And so, okay, so I want to ask, like, how did you feel, but like, did you ever feel like you made the wrong decision?
No, I have no regrets on it. The only thing that really kept me going is like, I can't be lukewarm. I can't be mediocre in whatever I decide to do moving forward because I never want to get to the point where I'm an older version of myself much down the line. And I look back and be like, damn, did you make the right decision? Because what if you would have played ball? What if it could have led you to X, Y, and Z? So that's why I make sure I go hard on every day I do because I never want to wake up later on down in life and regretting that I did make the wrong decision. And I salute my father too as a big support part of that too because, nowadays, these days, a lot of parents' retirement plan is their kids. So like you said, living through, their kids and things like that too. So, I never, and the reason why I say that to say this because if I felt like I would have made the wrong decision, I wouldn't have my Victorious and Mamba, my Anna, you know, my family, my legacy. So yeah, it was even though there was a contract, a price tag on that contract, it's more priceless of what I'm living today with my
That's what I'm
family.
talking about, baby.
Yeah.
I love that. That's family.
Yeah.
That's family. Okay, so I know you're in financial services.
Yeah.
Tell me, like, what did that do for you mentally? Not just financially, but like, what did that do for you mentally choosing financial services as it?
Man, I said it like this, if I could be honest with y'all too. At that point in time, I was still living at my mom's. I'm working early childhood education, right? She's asking for money for rent. I gotta give money up for rent. I ain't got no car, right? I didn't really have much, right? And I'm thinking to myself like, money's the problem, right? And if money's the problem, I have to find a solution. And the solution always isn't making more money, it's making more money to learn how to keep that money, to manage that money, to multiply that money. Because we're conditioned to grow up, go to school, get good grades, work hard, hopefully get a good job, paying a 401k, match, all that good stuff too as well. But we can't just be employees to make money. We gotta teach our money to be employees for us. So we gotta teach our money to work for us because we can't just keep working for money.
Hold on. Cause you ain't gonna just say that. Yeah. Run that back for me one more time.
Yeah, so most people, they're employees for their money versus learning how to make that money be an employee for them, basically working for them, right? Because when money works for you, you create more options, right? Out of $1, you can multiply it, and you only like, I got this from one of my mentors, you're only a few flips away from quadrupling your money, right? But that's learning how to make it work. So I was thinking to myself, financial services, I didn't grow up knowing about money. My parents didn't know much about money. I mean, they worked hard for it. In fact, when I brought this information back, my parents like, where the hell you learn this from? You know, where you get this from? And I'm thinking that if my parents are thinking like that, imagine what my community's thinking about.
How many more people that are like my parents?
Yeah, and then in my community, all you see is liquor stores, beauty supplies, currency exchange, churches. There's really no place or low location where it actually teaches about money, taxes, credit, right? How to prepare for retirement, what is legacy, what is life insurance, basically to find that, the foundation, the ABCs of money. So when I got into this, I'm like, man, I ain't know this stuff. This money works like this. And I'm thinking to myself today, at that time, if I'm having a money problem, I gotta find the root of why this is continuing to be a problem, right? And I have to learn from individuals that is where I wanna be, knowing what I don't know, and not being that man in the room. So I want to be the not the weakest in the room, but I didn't want to be the strongest in the room. Because if I'm the strongest and the smartest in the room, I'm in the wrong room.
Capped out.
Yeah, so I felt like I was in a room where, you know, a lot of people knew things that I didn't know. And this information that I didn't know could take me to places that I wanted to go, but didn't have the right guidance to get there. So financial services just made sense. And honestly, really got into the industry too, because at that time where I was chasing the hoop dreams, I wasn't getting paid, money wasn't coming in. It was just all a passion and seeing what it could do. But also thinking too, in financial services, I could put jerseys on people's backs. I could give opportunities versus me going to Puerto Rico play ball. I can't put my man on.
That's a solo thing.
Yeah, I can't put him in the game. I can't put him in position, right? Versus over here, I can.
It's real.
Yeah, so it was more of a we versus me. Who can I impact? Right, versus over here, I'm impacting after this. What's after that? I can't teach everybody how to play ball.
Man, that's such a great mindset, bro. And so with that same mindset of you having a we versus me mentality, like how is that helping you in your household? Like how is that helping you, raise Victorious? And by the way, his son's name is Victorious. Crazy, man.
Yeah.
So how did those things kind of shape you into the father and husband that you are today?
To be honest, I want to give a shout out to my pops, Victor Manuel Landor Jr., the second, right? Shout out, Papi.
Shout out, Papi.
I call him Champagne Papi, Papi Chulito, right? Or sometimes Pelencho, right? But my father did a very, very great job, exceptional job at raising my sister and I, especially at a young age. He had me at 16, and then a year later, he had my sister at 17.
That's why hey, don't tell everybody your real age, but I never seen you over 25.
Oh, thank you.
Like 27, 27-ish.
Yeah. So seeing my dad, raise us, how hard he worked, and making sure that we don't take the path that he took. I know y'all probably heard the saying, take the best, leave the rest. right? So my style of parenting is pretty much old school. I got it from my dad too, and I got like you said, teamwork in the house. So I got a great teammate, right? Matter of fact, she's the star player, all right? And us coming together to really shape our legacy, our kids, where they come see us work hard, they see us sacrifice, they see us negotiate with them. Hey guys, if you understand that we do X, Y, and Z in the office, or we do X, Y, and Z at training and things like that, on the other end, you do your part, we're gonna do our part. And that's taking them to go see the Mario movie. That's taking them to go to the park. That's taking them to go vacations. They go to, travel with us and stuff like that too as well. But it's also instilling the same morals, values, and principles that I was brought up with, but also morals and values and principles that I want to add on to as well that I wasn't raised in. Because obviously, being raised up in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, it's a different time now.
It was a good time. I just want to let
It was a great time.
80s and 90s was a great time. Don't let nobody tell you that it was the crack epidemic and it was tearing us down, okay? Because they were very happy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Nah, it's real.
No, but keep going, man.
Yeah, now that's pretty much it. That we versus me, and like we say, we have it's 4 of us, so we call ourselves the family business.
Come on now.
Yeah, so we have affirmations we speak. We pray every morning together. We go to church every Sunday together.
Okay.
To a point where we're going to 2 church services, and my kids were part of the kids services, and they come back.
You
Hey,
made
Daddy.
2 services in a week?
Yeah. Sunday up. Forest Park to Humble Park.
Okay.
Yeah, so then my kids come back, give them $5. Hey, I tithe. I gave my money to I tithe. I put my money in the tithing basket. I know this new word. We learned about Job. We learned about Moses. And I would hear that type of stuff, and it's like, man, that's good. Because as a king, right, our job is to first be a king for ourselves, but also be a king maker, and also leading people to the kingdom for our Lord and Savior.
Come on.
In that word.
Give it up, baby. Yeah. That's what it's all about, y'all. Okay, so you're leading a national team now.
Yeah.
A national team. Like, what kind of men are you building? Like, you talked about being a king maker. What are some things that you look for? But then what are some things that you take the honor of building and instilling right now?
First and foremost, men with the integrity, right? Accountable, and understand leadership, right? I want my men to also know too. I mean, not know, but we got to develop rhino skin, thick skin, very thick skin.
Very thick. Rhino is like it's almost bulletproof.
Almost bulletproof, right?
Almost bulletproof.
Yeah, and to be a leader in their household, being a leader in their office, in their business, also be a leader in their walk in faith,
sure,
right? Bringing them to the Lord.
Do you deal with people who, maybe they don't have all of those things? Maybe they're not, maybe they don't have thick skin at first, or maybe they're not, like what's your non-negotiable? Like, what do you take minimally? Like, what are some base things that you like, I at least need to see?
Yeah. No, to be honest with you, I give a lot of grace because a lot of grace was given to me.
Sure.
Right, so who I am today, I was never like this in the beginning. So I know people had to have patience with me. I know people had to have grace with me. I know I wasn't the easiest to work with. It was a process.
You feel that way?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And to be honest with you, bro, I was a hothead. Come where I came from, I was a high motor, hothead. Yeah. Yeah. Especially as an athlete, it was just like man, if I lose this game, I'm catching them in the parking lot. It's like that,
That's deep.
That's how bad I wanted it.
I don't think he's that way now,
Oh, no.
Nobody's got to worry about being mad in the parking lot.
Yeah, God is good. He'll slow you down.
He got rhino skin now. He's bulletproof.
Yeah. So there's no real, no minimum. There's no certain standard in the beginning because I know it is a process.
Okay.
They're not going to change overnight. Delayed gratification versus instant gratification.
Okay.
I also love that my man understand that too as well because it does get greater later. And when things happen fast, you don't really get the chance to develop that character that you need to become to be able to see what the future holds so you can be able to be strong enough to hold it down.
Do you have an example of, someone who may have come in or come to you a bit rough around the edges, and maybe some other people were like, yeah, it's nothing that can be done with him. It's nothing that can be done with him. He's too rough around the edges. He's not coachable. All these things. He don't even believe in God. Like he's just he only came to you because somebody else said that it'd be a good idea to come to you.
To be honest, most of them, majority of them. Yeah, so it's a lot of people that are, ragtag, a lot of people that does want to have a second shot at dreaming again. It is those people that are looking for another shot. So they are coming from a place where beginning stages. A lot of them don't understand accountability. A lot of them don't understand personal development. A lot of them don't understand, teamwork. A lot of them don't understand the we versus me mentality. Because in the beginning, it was me. It was all about me. And with it being all about me, that was selfish. And that because I was in my head. But once I went from my head of me, it went to my heart for we. It's bigger than me. And the more we come together, the more we're on the same page, the bigger impact we can make because it's a collective mission.
That's so good.
So, yeah.
Man, that's so good. Let me ask you a deep question, man. What does legacy really mean to you?
Legacy is making sure that my family is taken care of and they could continue to move forward with or without me. Right? Legacy is not just, a lot of people think about this saying generational wealth, which is
I hear that a lot.
Generational habits, generational, character, generational work ethic, generational thought process, generational, mentality, having a tough mentality too. So legacy is something down the line where, like, for example, a lot of us, we come up and if I was to ask, do you guys remember your grandfather 6 generations ago? Chances are we don't, right? But when it comes down to me, I want to be remembered 6, 16, 26 generations down the line because of, like Steve Jobs said, his mission was to leave a dent in the world. And did he leave a dent in the world, y'all?
Success.
Yes, right.
So.
Yeah, so that's where it comes for me too as well when it comes to legacy. Just understanding that family is everything, right? But God is overall, and legacy is again something that represents you when you're no longer here, long and gone.
Okay. Yeah. If there's a young man who's chasing a dream, much like you were, what should he be thinking about right now?
Honestly, obviously the consequences. Right? The pros and cons, weighing it out, because I'm so grateful that I did have that patience, that God did slow me down, because most of the time, at that time, I was making a lot of impulsive decisions.
Sure.
And I would make impulsive decisions, and I'll be living at that moment like, I should have slowed down.
But do you think, because there's like a money difference now, like kids are getting paid early, like college NILs are real. Yeah. And somebody told me the other day that they can start in high school, like, senior year of high school. So it's like a kid that's seeing maybe beyond 6 figures. Let's just say they throw $1 million at 17. You think it? Because I think LeBron dealt with a contract like that from Nike. So like,
lifetime.
Would you say that it still applies even if the number increases exceeding?
Yeah, it's all about who you have in your corner too as well, right? Because people could be looked at, those kids could be looked at as the way out, the meal ticket, right? And they looking at that kid not with the best interest for that kid, but what's in it for them?
Sure. As
a meal ticket out, like I was mentioning, as a prize, right? But I would tell that kid too as well is, again, put the Lord in the center, right? And allow yourself to hear His voice on how to lead you.
That's great advice.
Because, they say the root of all evil is what?
The love of money.
The love of money.
The love
of money, right? And most of the time, too, I realized as well, as I got older, I started to think about it. It was like, when it came to basketball, was it passion or what could it do for me? And what it could do for me, obviously, is the money. Even though I was passionate about it, but which one outweighed the other? And even though at that time, don't get me wrong, the opportunity sounded good because of the money, but it was like, man, what's life after basketball? What am I going to be able to do if I'm one injury away? What am I going to do when politics don't go my way and the next guy comes in to get my spot and now I'm cut from the roster? And even though there's, 1 billion plus boys that's growing up to try to chase and pursue those dreams of hoop dreams, there's only 400 active basketball players on the roster in the entire NBA. So not everybody's going to make it. Not everybody's going to make it. So what is next up? So I would tell that kid, what's next up? Because another thing in Athletes Go Broke 30 for 30, when they come across this money, they had the wrong people in their ear. They had the wrong financial guidance. They had people, reaching their arms out, making them feel pressured and obligated to reach down and give that money. And then when they come to find out, like, for example, I'm not sure if y'all familiar with this guy. His name's Sebastian Telfair. Y'all heard of Sebastian Telfair? Yeah. Right, when I was in high school, he was in high school. He went from high school straight to the league. Yep. Fast forward today, he grew up in the Coney Island Projects in New York. Guess where he lives right now? Coney Island Projects in New York. Man. Yeah, so he played for the Trailblazers. He played for a few NBA teams, and I think over his whole career, he looked over $60 million, and now he has nothing. Yeah, you could look that up. He actually grew up. He came up at around the same time LeBron James was that phenom in high school, and he was telling how he had the wrong people in his corner, to the point where he ended up going to jail. Yeah, because the lack of money, people are money hungry, and they'll go to the farthest extent to get that money.
Absolutely.
And he actually scammed out doing the NBA, and I come to find out the NBA also has a 401k. Right, so he was a part of a 401k scheme or scam or whatever the case is.
401k, NBA.
Yeah.
NBA 401k. Wow.
Yeah. And he landed in jail because of lack of money, the decisions he's making, and fast forward, he's back in the projects.
Wow.
Yeah, so he had the wrong people in his ear and the wrong people that was, giving him the guidance. So that's another thing. Who's in your corner, right? And there's some even parents that try to get over on their own kids. I'm not sure if y'all heard of Kobe Bryant's dad, what he tried to do, right? That's a whole nother conversation too as well. He tried to get into the estate with Vanessa Bryant. They had a whole thing. He started selling memorabilia, autographs, tried to do the whole NBA rings and all that stuff too as well. Yeah, so it could be your only one. It could be your own people.
I got a question, man, from Henry Solomon. He wanted to ask, man, what's one decision that you think every man needs to make in this room before the year is over? Like, what's one good decision you think every man needs to make?
I'll say be, again, not to find God. Open your heart, find your Lord Jesus Savior, right? Find a relationship with him. If I could be super honest and vulnerable, there's a point when I hit rock bottom. And when I hit rock bottom, I realized I hit rock bottom because God wanted to remind me that he is the rock. And at that time too as well, it was like, he was calling my phone. You ever get a call, you like, ignore the call, ignore the call, ignore the call. And God was just calling. You ready to pick up?
Spamming.
Yes. I ain't got no other option. What's up, God? Talk to me, so that I would say that because, if I could really be honest, what the Lord did for me, we'll be here all night long. We'll be here, we'll be here for some days.
Absolutely.
But also after that is love.
Hey, God is the greatest.
Facts.
God is the
Ain't
greatest.
nothing like it, right? And the second thing is that every man should be open to receiving what comes with him discovering the next best version of himself.
Unpack that question. What do you mean by it?
The next best version of yourself, a lot of times too, when people fail to realize in order to grow, you got to get uncomfortable. Because you're never going to grow in your existing environment. So that's going to take you to do some things that gets uncomfortable to discover that next best version. Like, for example, when I got in the financial service industry, it was like, no jeans, no gym shoes, no Jordans, no Jiggy. Y'all know the Jiggy in our time, right? No Jiggy. You got a suit, tie, slim fit.
That's right.
Freaky socks, right? The nice socks. And I used to sit in these meetings uncomfortable. Can't even move, right? I go back to where I'm coming.
Closet full of J's.
Yeah, and I'm at the secondhand getting suits because I don't even know how to shop, right? And they just told me, whenever you shop for a suit, fellas, if it's a little bit too big or a little bit too small, it's perfect because it could be altered.
That's right.
So that's what I learned in being uncomfortable. So me, I got uncomfortable in a lot of different ways. I got uncomfortable reading a book. A teacher couldn't pay me to lift a book.
Really?
Yes, and when I got in the industry, they said, we got to self-develop, we got to read a book, we got to take a class, we got to take a test, and then pass a test.
You're telling me that you didn't read books.
I didn't read no books.
You told me something that stuck with me forever.
What's that?
You said that readers are leaders.
Yeah, and it got to the point too where my parents was like, son, just bring C's home. We'll pretend they A's, right? And then when I got in the industry, in order to get the license that I needed to actually, conduct business and market and offer the different financial products and services, the threshold grade was a C. I was like, oh, that's an A to me. I could do that.
What?
And as I'm studying, it's Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, the guys called me, Vic, where you at, man? It's lit outside, we kicking it, man. Think and grow rich. And in the back of my mind, I know it's lit out there. I know they're having a ball. But then I thought about myself too, like, I'm getting better now. I'm depositing into my memory bank, right? I'm growing, I'm getting uncomfortable. As much as I want to go, I have to get uncomfortable. Because in order to have the life that I want, I got to do things that I'm not normally doing and comfortable doing.
That's right.
And being held accountable too. And it's to a point too, I was held accountable. I used to question like, who do you think he talking to? Who is this person? But then I realized accountability is a love language. And if you're not being held accountable, that person don't love you. And I also got taught by my mentor, if you fall in love with accountability, you'll fall in love with your bank account. right? Because you'll be directed to be doing things that you wouldn't do normally because it's comfortable for you. But if you get uncomfortable, it gets greater later. To the point where you look in the mirror, I used to look in the mirror like, damn, who was this dude? That's you, bro. You know, talking to myself. And one thing I always keep in mind too as well, the younger you takes care of the older you.
That's right.
There's gonna be a point, let's say if anybody's in the room, you're 20 years old today. One day you're gonna be 25. One day that 25-year-old is gonna have a conversation with that 20-year-old. And how's that conversation gonna be? However you want it to go, but it goes based off the decisions and the moves you make today to have that conversation with that 25-year-old.
Beautiful.
Because when that 25-year-old had that conversation with the 20-year-old, like, man, look at our life. You went against the odds. You went opposite. Look how beautiful it is. Look at the smile on your family face, right? Or it could be the 25 talking to the 20-year-old. We ain't do nothing. We wasted our time. Look, we got the same thing. You still in the same box. You're now open to leadership. You're now open to getting uncomfortable. You're now open to accountability. You're now open to personal development. We just...
I think that's so crazy because you said 5 years. What about 10 years?
That's deeper too. Because they say men are buried around 70, 80, but they die at 25. Walking dead because they don't have no purpose. They're aimless. They don't have no target. And when you have no target, you're shooting everywhere. And you don't really have no destination with that. So, yeah.
Man, that brings me to my last question, man. Give it up, Victor Landor. This is crazy. I just got one more question to ask, man, before our lightning round. I'm gonna do a little lightning round with you. We always close it out like that. But I just want to simply ask you, what does it mean to be a king?
What does it mean to be a king? How many people that you can impact? How many king makers you can make? Because you could be a king, but how many kings did you make? Right? What does it mean to be a king? Raising up your family. One thing I realized, come to find out, personally, a man's true wealth is his family. That's what I believe.
Facts.
Right? And a king is leading his family, leading from the front, providing protection, security, guidance, leadership, example, courage, right? Also being not just saying what to do, but showing them how to do it through your example, living the example. There's something they can see, not just they hear, because they see that it's one thing to say, but it's another thing to do. And one thing a wise man told me was nothing, because he showed me.
Victor Landor, everybody. Man, bro, I'm so excited as you came out and joined us at the Kingsman podcast. I believe that this is gonna change someone's life.
Agree.
In the future. We got something for you, something special because you poured into us today. You looking around? What is? We got something for you. It's gonna be backstage. We got you, man. We gonna hook you up. We got some sponsored stuff. By the way, Saratoga, you can. That's all you.
That's love.
Yeah, that's all you. You gonna be getting a lot more where that came from.
Okay.
I just want to say a quick shout out to our sponsors, Maggiano's. I don't think there's a better place where you can take your family and eat good Italiano, right? From Italy. And Cafe Real, okay? That's the best coffee you could ever have, okay? That is Panama Geisha coffee.
It's good.
It's incredible, okay? All right, so shout out to our sponsors, and shout out to Victor Landor for coming through. I got a real quick lightning round for you, man. Tell me either or, okay? Wealth or freedom?
I say freedom, because some people have wealth, but they're not free.
Pressure or peace?
Pressure.
Love or respect?
Love and respect. Go read that book, by the way.
Well, I already asked this, but I'm going to still get it out there. Basketball or business?
Business. And the reason why I say business, because in basketball, you're an employee. But in business, you can actually become an owner of a basketball team. Yeah, so one thing, love. One thing that really gave me perspective too as well is that when I looked at the ball court, when I looked at the game of basketball, the employees on the court, the owners are in the skybox. They dictate the direction of the team. They dictate the contracts. They dictate what type of team they want to assemble, and they have ownership. And just like you see with the Lakers, the Buss family handed it down. Yeah. They was actually in the field with their dad, calling season ticket holders, getting the the stadium up and going, helping the team gain momentum and stuff like that through the culture and things like that. Fast forward to the point where the Bus family was able to sell the team for over $1 billion, but still hold ownership of that team. Yeah, so if the father was a ball player, that would have been that after his contract was up. But he bought the team, and he had the team for many generations to the point where he put his kids, his legacy in position to make those type of decisions, to acquire that $1 billion, but still have 25% equity ownership of the team. Yeah.
You want them to remember your name or your impact?
The impact. Because if they can remember the impact, the name is going to be automatic.
Lone Wolf or Brotherhood?
Like I said, the best hoods is fatherhood and brotherhood.
Yes, sir. Purpose or profits?
Purpose, because if you follow your purpose, profits is priceless and it's going to be endless. So,
my last question to you personally is: are you free after this? We get some wings. We can just I'll go pick your brain some more.
Yeah.
Y'all give it up for Victor Landor, man.
And can I say one thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to Reggie, also Enoch as well, Vic Behind the Lenses for this safe space, this environment, this community. A lot of this is needed. I feel with Chicago as it is today, a lot of these kids aren't being, they lack leadership in the household.
Absolutely.
They lack that role model. They lack that father figure. And they don't have environments like this, safe spaces like this, where we could be vulnerable, we could be real, and we can have a community together where we can come together and be ourselves. And because of that, they're being parented by social media, music, and these are kids that are easily influenced to just get influenced to go do the wrong thing versus having that conversation with somebody, tap them on the back like, no, follow me in this direction. So what I see Kingsman as today is not what everybody sees it as today. I see it as something astronomical and really making an impact in the Chicagoland and surrounding areas, because this is needed and a lot of this is not happening where we need it at the most. Absolutely. Where we can come together and be super real and not, let our shoulders down and be at peace and be comfortable amongst each other.
Absolutely. What's next?
Well, before we talk about what's next, I just want to say thank you to Vic. Been in business with him for, a good part of 7 years now. And I remember he's always one of those guys who felt like a brother and a father at the same time.
That's tough.
So I got 8 sisters. So I don't have any, I never grew up with that. So probably one of the people in my life, especially in business, that really felt like a big brother, somebody that knew how to gracefully push
hold you accountable.
But that's what I was gonna say, right? Push you in the right direction, but then also hold you, so you fail forward, but not fail and fall. So
I feel the same way.
Appreciate you as an honor.
I feel the same way, man.
Yeah, I love it. So thank you guys for coming out. We are building this thing. It is growing. There's a lot in the works. You guys are gonna see on social media. You guys are all get information on that in your emails as well, so you can connect, share, replay, all of that stuff. We are coming together again on May 20th. May 20th, we're gonna be here. Want to talk a little bit about who's gonna hit?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Anybody familiar with Stunt Taylor? Mr. Fifi on the block. We'll have him as a guest speaker next time. Yeah. So give it up. Stunt Taylor, he's gonna be in the building next time.
There you go. I love it. So as we continue to build this community, help us get the word out, whether that's word of mouth, social media, whatnot. And, I will say God definitely has his hand on this thing. We're doing big things. We're building it from scratch, and we appreciate you. We appreciate Vic and what you guys are doing here today.
1,000%. Last thing, for anybody who this is their third event in a row, all plays, no skips. The next event is free for you guys. We'll make sure that we have the code up in the registration. Also, discounted registration only until the end of the night, correct? Mm-hmm. And you guys will see that there. and so with that being said, that's it. We out. Episode 4 is a wrap. Thank you to all of you guys that came out and made this possible. And the Kingsman said, ho, ho, ho. We gone.